you can get to the big stuff incrementally, or you can get to the big stuff on the rough ride. The big stuff's there for you. In other words, you cannot stop clarifying life. It just must get better. You cannot stand in a moment in time where you are perceiving what's going on without being aware that it could be a little better in this way and this way and this way and this way. And to the degree that you keep up then, vibrationally, by caring about how you feel. We're going to just jump in here for a minute and then we'll throw it back to you. But we really want to build this foundation because this is really the leading edge of deliberate creation. So, you think we're a little schizophrenic because we say, focus on what you want. And then we say, don't focus on what you want if what you want isn't happening. Because if you focus upon what you want from your awareness that isn't happening, then you practice a contradictory vibration to what you really want. So then we began saying, what you want's in the vortex. So you just chill. Have a massage, pet your cat, go for a swim, meditate, do anything that you can do to put yourself in a place of non-resistance. And then the grid will begin to fill in. And so then physical friends would say, but I like to be specific. But when I'm specific and it's not going well, then I'm shooting myself in the foot. So we say, well, be aware. Be as specific as you can be and still feel good. Because you want to be specific. But here's the thing that we most want to introduce into this conversation. It isn't you that is being specific. It's the grid filling in that is bringing the specifics. And if you can follow that, in other words, so Abraham, are you really saying that I'm just observing and throwing stuff out there, and then I'm just finding a way to line up with it, and that as it fills in and I observe the specifics, that that's really what creation is? And we say, that's what it is. How about that? So now, here's another piece of it that's really good. So, if you can go general and stay there long enough with non-resistance, that's why meditation helps you, then as your grid begins to fill in, and you begin to notice it, what happens is you get better and better and better and better at discerning the subtleties of those specifics. Did you follow that? In other words, it's fun when you say, I want that, and it's big and you point at it and it comes. That's fun. That's fun. But the real deliciousness, if you're an artist, you want to get really good at it. You don't want to paint with a great big old paintbrush that you'd paint the house with if you're painting on canvas. In other words, you want something that is more refined, don't you? And so the same thing is true with this energy. Once you get the hang of this and you begin to feel the subtleties, so then it becomes as satisfying. Here it is. This is what we've been reaching for. So what's your attention on? How you feel. Not the thought that caused the feeling, how you feel. Because if you're focused on how you feel, then you're tending to your grid. If you're tending to your grid, the details will fill in, and when they do, you can focus on them. Ooh. Finally, we've got creation turned around in the way that it always has meant to be by the laws of the universe, yes? The thought causes the feeling, but when you focus on the feeling, then the thought comes. That's what attraction is. There's no assertion. It's all attraction. It's about preparing yourself vibrationally. It's like, I'm going to ready myself for the manifestations I seek. That's what the best description of deliberate creation is. I'm going to vibrationally ready myself for the filling in of the grid. You can get yourself into a general enough place, just chewing with us. In other words, as we're having this conversation, it's happening on many more levels than a verbal level. It's a vibrational thing that's going on. And so your vibration is raising and raising and raising and raising and raising. Your grid is drastically improved as a result of focusing in an arena like this. And so then, as you are just paying attention to the grid filling in, and you are making the association between what came and how you felt before, now you've got it, you see. But if you're just blundering around, observing, creating grids, not being aware that you're creating them, not knowing one from the other, just knowing that life is up and down, and stuff's happening, and you're not able to make any association between what flowed into what grid and how that grid felt while you were making it, that's creating by default. Deliberate creating is so much more delicious. Yeah? for someone, we said you like the drama of it because you like to feel the energy moving. So when you really know what you don't want and you really know what you do want, when you finally find a way of no longer offering the resistant vibration and what you do want manifests, it feels really exhilarating to you. But it is equally exhilarating when you start refining your ability to discern this vibration. You want this a little. It's something that is really refined, and you come into vibrational alignment with it. So here's what we're getting at. Your ability to perceive is growing exponentially with the details that you're putting in your vortex. You see how it works? Did you follow that? It was way out there on the leading edge. We want you to get really, really, really good at discerning the subtle differences in energy. And when you're really, really good at it, those subtle differences, when they flow into your grid, will be every bit as satisfying as those big ones that you think you want. All right, now here's the big piece. Those big ones that you think you want can't happen. Those big quantum leaps that you're reaching for can't happen. Because if you've practiced one vibration, it can't fill in with another, you see. The closest thing to a quantum leap you're ever going to experience is when you feel your vortex full and you croak. That's a quantum leap. But as long as you're still here in this physical body, you really want to get good at devouring, at savoring the deliciousness of the subtleties of that, you see. You are so much more than you see here in these physical bodies. Do you know that? You were source energy before you got here, and you still are source energy. The larger part of you still is that. And sometimes you say, well, if that is true, then why would I come? What was the point, Abraham? Why am I here banging around like this with the wanted and the unwanted, the good, the bad, and the ugly? Why am I here? Why am I here in this physical form? What's it all about? And we say, it's about your joyous experience, and it's about all of our joyful expansion. It's about finding something new to focus upon and allowing the laws of the universe to fill it in with vivid detail that will surprise and delight you, and always delight you, while sometimes it may not surprise you, because sometimes you'll have a clue once you get good at reading vibration about what's coming. You'll know generally the goodness that is coming to you. And that really is what we are wanting in this conversation that we're having together today. We want to awaken within you your ability to anticipate in advance the goodness that is coming to you. So you stand ready and open for it, not guarded and fearful of it. So you stand expectant of it, not pessimistic of it. So you stand in any moment in time, in any conversation, no matter what you're doing, no matter what you're thinking about, knowing that well-being is yours. Not just future tense, but present tense. So let's say that you've been fussing about things, you've been uncomfortable, maybe even complaining to people. And you've been doing it for long enough that you've got a pretty active vibration going on about that. So formerly we called that your point of attraction. Now we're calling it your grid. Are you following the idea of the grid? It's like the framework of a building that will fill in with more specific details. But it's the basis. It's the root that is, it's sort of like the average of the thoughts that you've been thinking and what they represent vibrationally. So let's say you've been fussing and worrying and arguing and complaining, and that's a grid that you've got going on. And because that's the grid that you've established, it's filling in. It's filling in with more annoying people. Next logical step. It's filling in with more things going wrong. Next logical step. It's filling in because law of attraction is bringing to you what your point of attraction equals. You follow? Mm-hmm. Now, we really like this word that we're going to now apply to the grid. Momentum. Law of attraction causes a momentum to flow into the grid. And that momentum is what addiction is. It's the manifested behavior that matches the momentum. That's why we say there are positive addictions, because there certainly are positive momentums, and there are what you would call negative addictions. So all we're talking about is somebody, without knowing what they were doing, established a point of attraction, a grid, a habit of thought. They beat the drum of things that they do not want, and did it long enough that now there's momentum going. And so now we're saying to you, if you specifically say, I'm going to stop participating in this beverage that I've been participating in, it's not likely that that's going to be easy, because the vibrational momentum, the grid is filling in. The craving is still there. Now, you could use your willpower, but we don't recommend using willpower, because willpower is trying to buck a current of a grid filling in.
Right.
You've heard this analogy. It's our favorite relative to this subject. I've fallen out of an airplane. I jumped out of an airplane. I'm at 50,000 feet. I have no parachute. What should I do? And we say, hang on, it'll be over soon. Because given your expectations and your experience in this time-space reality, there's a pretty sure thing of what's going to happen next. But what's going to happen after that is really what's in question. So what we're saying here is, don't try to change course in the middle of momentum, in the middle of law of attraction's response to your grid. Don't try to buck that current. It will just make you tired. Instead, at a time of non-resistance, prepave a different grid, and do it often enough that you get some momentum going there, so that that grid is calling you more powerfully than the former grid.
Sure.
Because when you allow it in that way, then the cooperative components of the universe assist you.
Right.
And the cooperative components of the universe include the cells of your body. They include your vibrational basis. They include everything that has anything to do with you in your current powerful now moment. What we really want you to hear from us is that there is never any advantage to you ever in focusing upon something unwanted and having a discussion about it, because it cannot go away until you either find a remedy that you believe will make it go away, or you withdraw your attention from it. Now, let's go back to that remedy that you believe will make it go away. If you had a condition and you went to see someone and they said, oh yeah, I see it all the time, eat this, drink this, rub this on, and you'll feel fine. Then your desire, which is the conversation we had when you sat down, your desire is such that that little bit of information massaged your belief and softened your resistance enough that your desire dominated, and off you go toward the recovery that you're looking for. Okay. But if you have a condition that is stubborn, that people are perplexed about or concerned about, and so it persists, so even in the midst of your awareness of your active desire to improve it, you're witnessing the opposite of the improvement that you're looking for. Now that contradictory energy is holding you in that place of non-movement. So you heard enough today from us to sort of understand that in order to get it moving more in the direction of what you want, you have to discontinue the activation of the vibration. And we know it's not an easy thing, especially when there's something involved with your physical body. It's not easy to ignore what's going on. And yet that is the work. You have to ignore unwanted while you amplify wanted. And there's something really wonderful about a physical condition or about anything unwanted, because it can give you a bounce. It can amplify your desire in a stronger way. But the thing that is a little tricky about it, when you have specific things that you know you do not want, even though it causes you to now have specific things that you know that you do want, is quite a vibrational jump between the not wanted and the wanted. Yes. Such a jump that most people don't make it. Yes. Especially since the persistence of the day-to-day experience is such that it keeps getting your attention and you keep renewing that vibration. So your work really, and we talked about it at the beginning of this day, is to get as general as you can about it, because you have a chance to shift vibration if you go general, where the specifics of it, in most cases, won't let you. So, can you remove yourself from the specifics of it long enough to have a general conversation? In other words, could you say, I have a temporary condition. Can you feel the softness of a temporary condition as compared to a chronic condition?
Yes.
Now, it can be chronic and temporary.